Welcome to the SVM Playoff Blitz. I'm Assistant Sports Editor Christopher Heimerman. We've got the Newman Fieldcrest matchup here, a couple of 8-1 teams meeting in the 2A playoffs. Two teams coming in, riding 8-game winning streaks as they hit the playoffs. Newman the 5 seed, so they have to travel to Minonk to take on the Knights. Neither of these teams has lost since week 1, obviously. Newman fell 21-9 to Rock Ridge in their opener. Meanwhile, Fieldcrest lost 27-12 to Tri Valley in week 1. Tri Valley is one of the top seeds in 1A. That Rock Ridge team could very well end up meeting Newman or whoever comes through in that quadrant in the 2A semifinal. Since those setbacks, the Knights have outscored their opponents 312-61, the Comets 403-96. So obviously lots of blowouts since then. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Comets, as over the past 8 weeks we've told you, or 9 weeks we've told you what they are week in, week out. This is a team with 6 rushers who have at least 100 yards, 4 rushers with at least 250 yards. The biggest horses in the stable, you've got senior Jake Snow, who's got 1,087 yards rushing and 22 touchdowns. Sophomore Brady Rude, who Mike Poposi has called a clone of Brian Bars, who graduated last year. Rude has had a phenomenal sophomore campaign, 506 yards and 6 touchdowns. A couple of other great backs in the mix. You got a quarterback who's very capable in AJ Sharp. But let's quickly move to the Knights, a team you probably don't know a lot about. They won their first share of a conference title in the heart of Illinois this past season. Here's some of the skill players you got to watch. Drew Barth threw for 347 of his 1,471 yards in a blowout last week that locked up that share of the conference title. His favorite targets, Jake Griffin with 580 yards receiving, and Jack McDonough. But whereas Newman has all those backs and they can differentiate their running game, really all that the Comets are going to have to key on in terms of the running game is Grant Yocums, who comes in with 1,172 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns. And that's with him sitting out in week 9 and being limited with his sprained ankle back in week 8. They're also going to be getting back this week their 4-year lineman, Dakota Park. He is second on the team with 34 tackles, also leads the team with 5 sacks. So both he and Yocum should be back in the mix this week, so they should be back at field strength. Kudos to the coaching staff seeing an easy opportunity to win that game and to get their guys back and as close to 100% as possible. We all know at this point of the season, nobody's fully healthy. 391 yards for, 132 against for the Knights this season. They've also shown the ability to win with their defense. In week 8, to seal up the share of that conference title, they beat Tremont 12-0. Offense wasn't clicking, so they locked it down on defense, gave up fewer than 100 yards. We know Newman can do that as well. Newman has a number 5 seed, its lowest seed in 2A since 2007, but I like them to make a deep run in the playoffs. They could run into EPC in the second round, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Focusing on this one, I don't think that Newman can be handled in this game because they differentiate their attack, whereas they can focus on Fieldcrest, running back Yocums, and the only area where they could be a little bit vulnerable is in the passing game. If this game was at Roscoe Eads this weekend on Newman's home turf, I'd like it to be a 3-score game. I'm going to give the Knights the benefit of the doubt being at home. Still taking Newman though, 27-13.